Jerky. Sharks, you're all busy and know what it's like to need fuel on the go. And jerky is a convenient, tasty, nutritious snack people have been enjoying for centuries. Let's take a moment to appreciate our jerky in all of its glory. I can't think of anything more satisfying than ripping into a meaty, chewy, delicious piece of jerky. Whew. Almost brings a tear to my eye. Pans is high in fiber and vitamin D. It's paleo, soy-free, gluten-free, and there are just 6 simple ingredients in our original recipe. And all our flavors have their own unique umami taste. Well, I didn't mean to go on and on about our jerky without you being able to taste it. I'd love for you each to take a bite, so please, go ahead. Now, I can't wait to hear your thoughts, but before you share them, I have to admit something. That marvelously meaty texture that you're experiencing—
It's great, really good.
Thank you.
Love it.
Is actually mushrooms. That's right, Pan's mushroom jerky.
I was wondering why
I
it's so
love
soft.
it even more.
This is great.
We have 4 delicious flavors.
Oh my God.
Original, zesty Thai, salt and pepper, and
Wow.
applewood barbecue. All of them have a delicious flavor and satisfying texture that fans of jerky love. Now, Sharks, I'm seeking $300,000 in exchange for 10% equity. Who's ready to take another bite?
Wow, that was a great reveal.
Thank you. These are all shiitakes, by the way.
So tell us your story. How did you get into mushroom jerky?
So my father was born and raised in a small fishing village in Malaysia. Luckily, I had the opportunity to go visit family to learn about my heritage and where I came from. And one of these visits to Malaysia, there was a bowl of food on the table. I reached in and try it, and immediately I thought, oh, this is great. It must be pork. I was really confused. The person who served it was my cousin, and he was vegetarian Buddhist. And he had been making the snack for himself, for his family, for people in the area, and selling it locally. And as vegetarians, they had a really hard time finding foods that not only tasted great, but also had a really great texture. And mushrooms were very satisfying and also very healthy. I was blown away, and I knew at that point that we had something that had to be shared with the rest of the world.
What does it cost landed? What's the store selling it?
We make it for $1.67.
Okay.
Our MSRP is between $7.99 and $8.99.
Who's your biggest chain right now selling it?
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods,
Yeah, we're
okay.
in 2 regions of Whole Foods at the moment.
What did you say your sales were?
In 2018, we ended at $300,000 to start off with. In 2019, we more than doubled. We got to about $755K. And I'm happy to say in 2020 so far, we're at $620,000 in sales.
And how many stores are you in now?
We're in about over 700 stores right now.
So they have a trademark registration on pans, right? Generally speaking, you can't register a service mark in particular if it's a surname. But in this particular case, because it's pans, apostrophe S, it's a product, able to get around that potential surname refusal to USPTO. They're registered to protect mushroom-based snacks. So,
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
Very quick update. So they came back. They did do a deal with Mark. I want to just point out, though, from the patent perspective, right? That question was asked, do you have any competition? And he kind of said, well, really, no, we're trying to be a first mover. That's dangerous, right? He's up there looking for investment, and good thing he got it. They're still in business. They're selling a ton. But that's one of the risks you take without getting a patent, without having any type of specific technology. Maybe they've got something behind the scenes kept as a trade secret in terms of how they're formulating that food. And it would be probably not worth it or too risky to try to go for patenting on it from that perspective. So I'll hand it over to the mycology team. What do you guys think about this pitch and product?
No, it's great. I've had lots of mushroom jerky and it's delicious.
You have?
Sometimes it's delicious.
There is some very bad mushroom jerky that I've had as well.
You guys are familiar. I've never had it. Matt, have you had mushroom jerky?
No, never even considered it.
Like common for you guys. Okay.
It comes down to spices and texture. We will warn you, there's thousands of different types of mushrooms, and there's definitely some that are just slime. Like there's one that like it inks, like, and it just melts into a blob of goo. So some will be worth cultivating and some just won't.
Okay, got it. Have you thought about that in one particular avenue, right? Serving makers of jerky. Would that be a good fit, or is that more for the farm high volume?
So you notice that he said they're shiitake mushrooms.
Okay, I didn't catch that. Okay.
So they're sticking to mushrooms that are easily cultivated. So you can do it on a massive volume. And so we are looking at a lot of these sort of gourmet species and ones that are hard to cultivate. So I don't know if the fit is perfect there for us, unless you were looking at doing small scale batches of particular species.
Got it. So I think maybe Matt, you were right with that brewery, right? That independent, small batch, boutique, high end, or just unique and local, maybe not necessarily high price, but I think maybe for me, it's not beer right away. It's just the raw, fruit of the mushroom. People aren't used to. You're not just always going to be able to take that raw mushroom and eat it. There's got to be something readily convertible or that hot new thing. A way to consume mushrooms that is as close as possible to beer.
That is actually why we think that area that's in that line where you actually sell to restaurants is actually so interesting, where you say, let's put it on the people that actually serve food to actually come up with how to prepare it. And then the advantage we think we have is you do get the ability to introduce mushrooms that people do not generally eat, simply because they're generally not available.
Yeah,
right.
I'm thinking mushroom
really
popcorn.
Cool. I love that. I love that aspect of it, Nicholas. That you could have a whole whole new portfolio of mushrooms to try.
So I do want to address the comment to you. There's one about mushroom leather manufacturers. We were lucky enough that when we started talking about this, we actually got we started talking to a number of people in Chicago. There happened to be a company that was using mushrooms not for the fruiting body, but they're actually making the colony that we would think about. They were growing that in a vat, and then you mulch that all up and you turn it into a protein powder. There's another company that uses a very similar concept to what we're proposing or what we have. And instead of growing the mushroom in order to, again, have a fruiting body, which is where we really think we stand out, they actually grow it and then take the hyphae, the colony, and brush it in different directions after every growth cycle. And by doing that, you can actually make this leather equivalent. And it comes out and it's really tough and it's really it's really durable. And it's basically all of these cells growing into each other and making this fiber pad. But the technologies are related. The company that's making the mushroom powder, they're growing it in a very similar style as making beer, where you have this nutrient-rich media that they all brew up. In the case of the leather, they actually use a sheet and put the nutrient-rich media on top of the mushroom, and it actually just seeps through this sheet very, very slowly. So similar to what we're proposing, except in their case, they can't make a fruiting body because you don't have space. You don't have that form factor.
Wow.
Very cool. It's almost like they're growing on on a lattice or some sort of structure. Interesting.
I will say, going back to the Shark Tank idea, if, for example, someone wanted to make mushroom jerky, but with a less easily cultivatable mushroom, let's say, they wanted something really big and meaty like chanterelles. They wanted to try to make it with that kind of mushroom. That would be a possible avenue for us, especially because our technology is potentially scalable. That could certainly work as well.
So in the scalability argument, again, as I said, it's a pumping. It becomes a plumbing issue. Think of it as your colony becomes something that looks sort of like a thermos bottle, and you have tubes that go in and out of it.
Yep.
And you grow this and you grow mushrooms and it's all. But there's no reason why you can't just stack 1,000 of them together and then all of them grow at the same time. So your mushroom farm actually becomes more like a mushroom closet with a door. And you grow, and that's how it works. So although the CapEx cost would be a little bit higher, the OpEx is relatively low. You essentially feed it sugary water.
Wow. Right. And you don't need any above ground element. This could all exist beneath the ground.
Yeah.
Mushrooms don't need light.
They don't need light.
Like plants.
So all of a sudden, like mineral rights, or the land becomes more valuable. Yeah.
Mushrooms are terrifying. That's what I've learned from this conversation today.
Yeah. I am intimidated, right?
So that entire concept of cordyceps where they can take over your brain and The Last of Us turns into something.
Yeah, I was gonna
that's a thing
reference
too.
The Last of Us, and I was gonna reference the Penguin, but yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.